Introducing Design Team member Betsy Preval and National Council for Higher Education President and Design Team member Dwayne Schaefer.
It's fun being up here.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Hello everyone. My name is Betsy Preval. I am an educator and a director from the great state of Massachusetts. Whoop, whoop. I am a member of the illustrious Summit Design Team.
And I am Dwayne Schaefer, a member of the Summit Design Team and president of the National Council for Higher Education from the great state of California.
So Dwayne and I have the pleasure of welcoming you to the second day of the 2022 NEA National Leadership Summit. Hello again to all our friends who are logged in virtually. You can give them a wave. Hello, folks. We miss you. We love you. Are you enjoying being back together? No. Y'all can do better than that. Are you enjoying being back together? All right. That's more like it. So we have an exciting show for you today. In a few minutes, you will hear from our amazing Vice President, Princess Moss, and, give it up for Princess, and the 2021 National Teacher of the Year, Juliana Urtubey. And we also have some powerful member stories as well.
Yesterday, we focused on our students. Today, our focus is on us, educators, and that includes all of us, higher ed, ESP, higher ed ESP, and retired. I'm excited about the strides that we have made to be more inclusive of our membership. And though we have more work to do, I know that together we have the power to make things happen. Speaking of power, don't forget to donate to the PAC. We have a whole lot of work to do in 2022, and we need those coins. So sit back and relax. Don't go to sleep, because if you do, we will take a picture and it will be on social media. I'm just telling you. And also stick around, because we have more prizes courtesy of NEA member benefits. And now, without further ado, the Vice President of the National Education Association of the United States of America, Princess Moss. Give it up!
Oh my goodness. Hello, NEA leaders. I am Princess Moss, your NEA Vice President. I am also very proud to be the chair of the Summit Design Team. It's so exciting to be here with all of you. Okay, and we're going to take a quick momentary break. I'll be right back.
We all view the world differently. We're guided by our experiences and what we see. But sometimes, our perceptions don't reflect reality. The National Education Association gave me tools and training that helped me take a closer look, to reveal what often goes unnoticed. Invisible disabilities impact students' ability to learn. Despite our good intentions, some students don't get the support they need because we don't see the conditions they bring to the classroom, like diabetes or dyslexia, physical and neurological disorders. But we can change that by learning, working, and refocusing together to see the unseen and get students and educators what they need to be successful.
Because of the economic pressures on our students, defunding public education changes the landscape of being a student. This is a system that hobbles and prevents people from succeeding. As a librarian, disinvestment looks like cuts to books, it looks like cuts to materials. We are forced to cut subscriptions to scholarly journals that our students need and that our faculty have to publish in so they can get tenure. Our library resources are really educational utilities, and if we can't afford to pay for our utilities, everyone feels this pinch. My students have to work 2 or 3 jobs. They're working full-time while probably taking care of family. Some students camp out in libraries because they can't afford housing. We've cut so much state funding, we don't have enough people at our campus to fully staff our counseling and health services. We're not giving them the education they deserve. Since joining the union, I've gotten more involved in chairing our academic policies committee, where a lot of our rules get made, and there's a lot of inequality baked into those rules. The union gives you the support at your back to rectify it, to make it fairer and more equitable to our students, because public education is to educate the whole human, and we all need to be heard. We all need to be listened to.
Today, on Education Support Professionals Day, I am thinking of you. I'm thinking of some of the most critical members of our association family, the ESPs, who continue to show up and stand up for our students and our communities all across this country, despite all of the obstacles thrown their way. Recently, I've had the honor of connecting with ESP members face to face. I've visited school buildings and campuses from California to my home state of Pennsylvania. While these schools look different, they all shared one thing in common. None of them would have been able to reopen if it weren't for the ESPs who went above and beyond to keep them safe, healthy, and running in today's ever-changing reality. But our school buildings haven't reopened without challenges. From cleaning and repairing old buildings and addressing the social-emotional needs of our students, to navigating multiple bus routes and preparing healthy meals amid staffing and supply shortages. ESPs like you have been there for our students and families and for your colleagues. I have never been more proud to be an educator. I have never been more proud of you. This American Education Week, our association is not only celebrating you, we are coming together to elevate your stories and take action in support of you and your profession. And we are calling on everyone to recognize that you deserve respect, not just today, but every day.
Hi, this is Mr. B, Special Ed Paraprofessional from Arkansas, and I'm grateful for Mr. John Fritz, bus driver, who kept one of my special needs students safe from self-harm. Thanks, Mr. John. We're glad you show up every day for work. It wouldn't be the same without you and all the other ESPs.
Thank you, ESPs, for all that you do in our schools here in California and across the country.
The Federal Education Association wishes its ESP members a very happy Education Support Professionals Day. Thank you very much for all that you do.
Greetings from Florida. My name is Roosevelt Mcclary, and I would like to thank all the ESPs for what you have done this year. You are amazing.
From all of us at the Georgia Association of Educators, happy Education Support Professional Day. You truly are our superheroes, and we couldn't have school without you.
Today and every day, I want to celebrate our amazing education support professionals. You all do so much for all of our communities. I just can't thank you enough.
Today I'm thinking of ESP members from the Union of Support Staff and countless others in Illinois who help keep our students safe, healthy, and ready to learn every day. You rock!
The Fort Wayne Education Association wishes you a very happy Education Support Professionals Day. We love you here in Fort Wayne. Thank you for everything you do.
From every teacher in Kentucky, we would like to say thank you to our education support professionals.
You are the backbone of every school across the nation.
You go above and beyond for our students and our public schools every single day. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Thank you to all the ESPs in Louisiana and across the country. We love our ESPs.
Here in Massachusetts, we love our ESPs and we thank you for all you do to keep our students safe, healthy, and ready to learn. Happy ESP Day.
We love our ESPs. I teach at UMass Amherst, and this university could not run without our staff. Thank you for always supporting our students in good times and bad.
Happy Education Support Professionals Day from our aspiring educators in Michigan. We love our ESPs.
Hello, my name is Chandra Matafari. I'm the NEA Vice President, and I want to say thank you to the amazing ESPs for all their hard work in Michigan.
Thank you, Education Support Professionals, for all that you do.
You make schools happen.
In Montana, we recognize that public education wouldn't happen without our paraprofessionals who get the kids to school safely, prepare and serve healthy meals, keep the schools safe and clean, and provide extra educational support for students and teachers. So from MFPE here in Montana to all of you paraprofessionals, thank you so much.
Happy Education Support Professionals Day. Feliz Día de los Profesionales de Apoyo de la Educación. Our ESPs deserve respect and gratitude. Nuestros ESPs merecen respeto y gratitud. We celebrate you today and every day. Los celebramos hoy y todos los días. Gracias. Thank you.
I want to wish you happy Education Support Professionals Day. As you know, the ESPs are the connective tissue for our school system. Without them, things tend to fall apart. So thank you for all you do, and we love our ESPs.
From the Conval community, as a teacher, NEA New Hampshire Executive Board member, and a former para myself, over the years I have worked and collaborated with top-notch, well-dedicated paras and ESPs. You all continue to give your support to our schools and our communities. Thank you all for everything you do and continue to do, especially for our students. Thank you.
Happy Education Support Professional Day to all my fellow ESP members. I am Kimberly Scott Hayden, and I am NEA's ESP of the Year 2021, coming to you to wish you nothing but the best on your special day. You absolutely are essential to the public education process. I want you to continue to be great, Continue to support public education, and remember, you absolutely matter. Enjoy your special day.
I'm David Walker from East Orange School District, Inventory Control Clerk for 27 years. And we all should be celebrating today for all the work that we do in supporting our students in the process of education. Hope you all have a great day. And remember, keep up the good work.
Thank you to all ESPs in New Mexico public schools and across the country. We love our ESPs. Muchas gracias.
Thank you to our ESPs here in North Carolina and all across the country. Thank you for your leadership and the work that you do for our schools and communities every day.
Thank you to all the ESPs in Ohio and around the country, the unsung heroes. Thank you so much for all that you do.
As a part of American Education Week, we take this one day to recognize our education support professionals for all the great and amazing work that you do. Thank you so much. I'd like to view you as essential support professionals. We could not open the doors of our buildings each and every day without the great work that you do. Thank you.
Happy Education Support Professionals Day to all my amazing colleagues. Thank you from Texas State Teacher Association for all you do.
For all you do to meet the needs of students and our communities. Thank you. Happy Education Support Professionals Day.
Please give a warm welcome to NEA Vice President, Princess Moss.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Hello, NEA leaders. Thank you for your patience and thank you for your warm welcome to this in-person stage. You know, it is such a pleasure to see all of you here and to share an in-person space with so many of you after these 2 long years. What an unexpected, unforgettable, and in so many ways, unrelenting experience. But you know what has motivated and inspired me through it all? You. It has been seeing you, my fellow educators, doing so much for your students and their families with sheer grit and endless determination. You accomplished the remarkable. You continue to prepare our students for the future. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Day after day, month after month, and year after year, you took care of your students and their families while taking care of yourselves and your own families. Through every moment of this uncertain time, you showed the entire nation the drive, the resilience, the creativity, and the courage that it takes to be an educator. You know, at the height of the pandemic, I saw my friend Angela anxiously enter her high school building so that she could prepare learning packets for her students. And then, you know what she did? She went downstairs and she helped pack grocery bags with food for her students and their families so they wouldn't go hungry. Terry, one of my former students, led a car parade through her students' neighborhood to keep them connected with their school community. And my friend Xavier packed meals and left them on a doorstep of a student whose family needed more. As I watched my educator friends, I was so very proud. I wasn't surprised at all. In the midst of unthinkable circumstances, you and Angela and Terry and Xavier and so many of our dedicated NEA members across this nation continue to do what public school educators have done for generations. Through it all, and many times by doing it all, you kept our students moving forward. You know, our detractors like to say that there is a divide between educators and parents. I say that these past 2 years have provided countless examples of the ways in which educators and parents come together every day to help our students achieve their dreams. Along with parents, families, and communities, you displayed love in action. That is the purest form of love we know. We are who we are because somebody loved us. I know those words from Dr. Cornel West are true because I am who I am today because of an educator, someone just like you. Her name is Ellen Duret. She was a high school government teacher and sponsor of the SCA, that's the Student Council Association. She lived in the community and knew my family well, and she still calls my siblings by their full names. Y'all know what I mean, their full names. First, middle, and last. Miss Duret took me to my first sit-down restaurant. You know, the restaurant where the tables had a place setting, a knife, a fork, a spoon, napkins. Yeah, that was a big deal for me growing up, the daughter of 2 school bus drivers who fought to make ends meet. I'll never forget, it was at the Kenmore Inn in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I will never forget how special that made me feel, even though that meal happened almost 40 years ago. Miss Duret will be 90 this year. Yeah, give it up. Miss Duret will be 90, but I remember her kindness just like it happened this morning. When President Becky talked yesterday about the art of kintsugi, I thought about the way that all pottery, no matter what it is destined to become, a plate, a picture, a vase, it all begins with a vision. And for that vision to be realized, the pottery must be fired in a kiln which can get as hot as 2,500 degrees. It's pretty hot. As educators, I think of our why, the reason we first wanted to join the profession. I think of that as our vision. My why, a love for children and a deep desire to give to others the love, support, and care that educators like Ms. Duret gave to me. was what led me to do all that I could do as a student, to learn about the profession, hone my professional practice, rely on the guidance of mentors, and become the best educator that I could be. And later, my why helped to guide my footsteps into leadership, and it has remained with me throughout my entire life. There is no challenge, not even a deadly global pandemic, that can change the reason we wanted to become educators in the first place. Like the fire that strengthens pottery, that reason, our individual why, remains. Our why guides and strengthens us. It is in us. It is as much a part of us as our breath. And like Becky told us yesterday, the cracks and the fractures that we experienced during the pandemic, as individuals, as educators, and as a vital part of our nation's public school system, it hasn't changed who we are. Rather, our stories, the experiences we had during the pandemic, like the precious metals that are used to repair the pottery, have made us stronger. It has strengthened our capacity to demand what students and educators need and deserve. And it's made us stronger leaders. Oddly enough, the pandemic helped to strengthen me as an individual and as a leader, especially the experience of losing my sister. Just after Christmas of 2020, my sister became very ill. She told me she had a cold. I went to the store to get her some things, some wipes and some chicken noodle soup. On my way from the store, she called to tell me, "Princess, don't come in. Just leave the items at the door." My heart sank because deep down inside, I knew something was horribly wrong. And this was before we had COVID vaccines, and the emergency rooms were overwhelmed. No one wanted to go to the emergency room, not even my sister, as sick as I think she knew she was. I will never forget the text from my nephew, Jimmy. "Come quick, Aunt Princess. Mama's dropped to the floor." I was in a Zoom budget engagement. Dwayne, it was a higher ed budget engagement. But I quickly shut my laptop down. I jumped in my car and I raced to Spotsylvania to her home. She had an appointment to see the doctor the very next day. But by the time I reached her home that Sunday, my sister had already passed. The coroner was waiting outside in his car, and the funeral director was on the way. My nephew, Jimmy, he had COVID. He is fully recovered, but at the time, he had COVID. So I couldn't go in the house. My brother-in-law and I planned my sister's funeral by talking on the phone and through the front door. Although She was never diagnosed with COVID. My sister did have comorbidities which impact African American communities more frequently than other communities. And I believe COVID is the reason she died. Since I am known as a truth teller, I'm not going to lie to you. I am dealing with the trauma of that whole experience. And just because you see me smile and stand before you, it doesn't mean the load isn't heavy. It is. In honor of my sister and all of those who died because of COVID, there is a comforting thought at the close of the day when I'm weary, lonely, and sad. It gets in my soul and drives out the blues and finally thrills through and through. It's a sweet, sweet memory that chants the refrain, I am blessed because I touched shoulders with you. I may not have wealth, I may not be great, but I know I will always be true, for I have in my heart the courage you gave when once I touched shoulders with you. And while I don't know who wrote those words, I wanted to share them with you because I know I wasn't the only one who experienced loss and heartbreak during the pandemic. In some form or fashion, we all did. But here is what I want you to know about my story. The things I experienced during that time, especially the loss of my sister, they've given me several important lessons to carry with me on my leadership journey. And I believe these lessons are woven through each of the 7 competencies you will explore during this leadership summit. They will enrich your ability to advocate and communicate, to govern and lead others, to lead your profession and organize, organize, organize. Woohoo! Yes, indeed. And to truly practice social and emotional intelligence, and to think strategically and make sure financial resources are used wisely and protected. These are the 6 lessons I have learned from this time. 1, even though we are leaders, sometimes we need help. When we do, we can't be hesitant about asking for it. 2, even as leaders, probably especially because we are leaders, we must be willing to be vulnerable, to show our hearts and tell our stories. Stories are so powerful. They can provide the information that an elected politician may need to hear in order to cast a vote that will provide the education funding that a state or a community or a school district desperately needs. 3, your story may give another educator the courage they need to take that next step on their leadership journey or form partnership with parents. And 4, as leaders, each of us has what I consider to be a God-given gift. When we share those gifts freely, we benefit our students and our colleagues. We become active participants in building the future. And 5, As we follow our leadership paths, we must remain open to growth and transformation all along. As you grow and transform, never lose sight of who you are. That's how you will show up as your best and most authentic self. It's how you will be able to do your very best work, no matter your position in life. And lastly, remember, people need love. I'm a natural introvert, but during quarantine, I realized that people really do need people. Yeah, I got tired of being by myself, let me tell you. I can tell you some stories. Yeah, next year's summit. People need socialization. People need each other. People need love. So please remember to show love to others. And most of all, remember to show love to yourself. NEA leaders, I am so glad you are here. I am so glad we are here. Yeah, give it up, yes. As we step into year 3 of this very different world, I know you're tired. I know you are weary, but we are NEA leaders and we do not stop. We do not stop. We will not stop. We cannot stop. Our nation is calling on us in this hour, and we cannot let our students down. We need you, NEA leaders. We need all of you. Our students, their families, and our communities need you to keep walking with them toward their bright future. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it is now my honor to make the next introduction of our speaker. Our next speaker is Juliana Urtubey. Yeah. Juliana Urtubey was the 2021 Teacher of the Year. And when we talk about an educator leading us and guiding us into our moments of brilliance and energy, and leading and guiding our students into their moments of energy and brilliance, I can think of no better role model, no better leader than our 2021 National Teacher of the Year. Would you please join me in providing a warm NEA welcome to Juliana Urtubey, a member of the Nevada State Education Association.
You're beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Hello, buenos días, not tardes, buenos días, everybody. How are you today? I was backstage listening to Miss Princess, and all I could see was Maya Angelou talking about that the value that is most important to practice is courage. Ms. Princess, thank you for practicing that courage day in and day out. We are lucky to be here with you. So today, I'm here to talk to you about a joyous and just education. And I have heard that echoed throughout these rooms in the last day or so. So I want you to think of joyous and justice when you see my students. I want you to reflect that joy and justice to when you see yourself in the classroom. And I want you to reflect that when you talk to your students' families and communities. So yes, my name is Juliana Urtubey. I am a proud nationally board certified teacher. Yay! I certified in the area of exceptional needs, birth to age 21. I am a special education teacher. And I wear my pin every single day as a commitment to shining brilliance on my students. So if there are any national board certified teachers in the audience, I have a bag full of pins. If you have yet to receive your pin and would like to join me on wearing your pin into every educational space that you enter, come find me, I'll pin you, and we'll even put it on Twitter. I stand before you as Nevada's first. We talk about the strength that we have to carry, right? So I stand before you as Nevada's first National Teacher of the Year. The third special education educator to ever be recognized as National Teacher of the Year. And most likely the first Latina to ever hold this position. It does not go lost on me that Latinas face a world of invisibility. That every space we come into, we have to show up big and fight stereotypes and fight to be heard. I see that when I see my students. And so I'm proud to be joining you all today. So this happened. And once I assimilated the idea, and they said, we want to name all educators People of the Year. We'd like you to be on the cover to represent all educators, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a hard decision for me. I'm an educator. I fight hard for my craft, for my expertise, for my students. Being on a cover of a magazine was the last thing I ever thought I would do, and is the least teachery thing I've ever done. And I was nervous. I was nervous about it. I was accompanied by these 3 other amazing teachers, our National Teacher of the Year finalists, one of which is right here with us, Mr. John Arthur from Utah. And when I saw teachers and educators' response on social media, I was okay. At first, they're like grumpy because we don't wear ball gowns to school. Why would they put a teacher on? I don't wear a ball gown to school either, folks. I wear tennis shoes because I gotta run fast after some kids. But it was fun. But once I got through all those messages of the grumpy teachers being mad that I had a ball gown on, I saw the messages of teachers saying, hey, so-and-so, you too are the teacher or the person of the year, congratulations. Or I saw teachers being like, I'm gonna put this on my resume, I am the person of the year. So this is a celebration of us all. I want to play a little game. I think that schooling and learning is all about fun. So however you're compelled to respond to the next questions, if you want to stand up and scream, if you want to throw up your arms and just wave them, if you want to clap, whatever it is, I want to acknowledge who's in the room. I know that in the summer when we did the NEA Summit in July, I got to highlight stories of people in my building making the most difference. I got to talk about Miss Kenya, our front office manager, who knows where every single student lives, and if someone's in crisis, she'll go to their door, and the families trust her. I got to uplift Miss Sasha, who, when I was announced as National Teacher of the Year, showed up at my school 3 days in a row at 3:30 in the morning to make sure that we could make this COVID announcement work without any questions. She didn't even know what she was doing it for, and she showed up because she loved her school. So, we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna start shouting out different areas of education because we're all educators. All of us who impact the lives of children, students, families, we are all educators. So, if the communities you work with are early childhood, make some noise. Okay. I taught pre-K, I love it. All right, elementary. Middle school. High school. Adult education, post-secondary. Special education. Leadership. Policy. All right. The work you do matters. Oh, I cannot forget aspiring teachers. It's teachers like Rachel and Mercedes and Hunter and Jessica that keep me in the classroom, that keep me inspired. It's the brilliance of our first and aspiring teachers that remind me of the hope of this profession. So thank you all for all that you do. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story. And do you all know this lady? Our fellow NEA member? We all know this wonderful lady. So in October, we were recognized, the State Teachers of the Year were recognized in the White House. And I had to give a speech. So it turns out, this may be a known secret now, that I have public speaking anxiety, like bad. It's really, really bad. There are times that I have frozen in front of a podium and the ASL interpreter is just doing this. And I see them out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, get it together. So here I am, CNN live, the president's listening to me in the green room, but most importantly, I have my colleagues, my peers in front of me, and I am charged to address the nation and remind everybody what is so beautiful and important about education. And I get to the part of my speech where I'm gonna acknowledge my school communities, and I freeze. I'm overcome with emotion and pride, and I freeze. And I don't know if 3 seconds pass, 3 minutes, 3 hours, but I am frozen on that podium with the world listening. And before I knew it, I was embraced. And I look over, it's Dr. Biden. She had left her place on the stage to come embrace me and to tell me it was gonna be okay. And then I just laughed and I told the audience, Dr. Biden says it's gonna be okay, so it's gonna be okay. And then afterwards, Secret Service says, you stay on this stage, you do not move, you stay on the stage, we will come escort you. So I'm following directions. And I turn to Dr. Biden and I say to her, thank you so much, you saved me. I could not have gone through that without you. Oh, she teachered me at that moment. She looked at me and she said, I didn't save you. You don't need to be saved. The world needs to hear your story, and I know you're gonna continue to tell it. At that moment, something in my brain switched, and I was able to get in front of audiences, not quite as big as this one, but I was able to get out in front of audiences and tell my story. Because I agree with Dr. Biden that education doesn't just make us smarter, it has the potential to make us whole. My path forward is to ask the questions of what we need to make each and every single child feel whole in their education. I'm reminded about this beautiful quote said about Marianne Kaba. Why be a star when you can make a constellation? Isn't that what our work is about? Creating spaces of collective wellness where every single person, not just our students' families, our colleagues, all staff members at a school, feel like their light can shine. Because when we create collective spaces, there is space for us all to feel empowered. And so I'm going to share with you my story so that you can understand where a joyous and just education really truly sprouted from. That's me. I'm the little one on top of my middle sister. That was actually the day I learned to walk. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. Inside my home, wonder, awe, safety, love. Outside of my home, one of the longest running civil wars in Latin America. Sorry, it's dry in Vegas, huh? So, yes, like so many of my students, my family had to make that really hard decision to leave our hometown. And when we got to the United States, my mom went to the school that we were supposed to go to. And it was gray, metal detectors, she felt unwelcomed, and perhaps even unsafe. So my family decided to fight for my sisters and I so that we could have an education that truly honored who we were, our languages, our connection to family, our community. And they found, luckily, a bilingual magnet program that would accept my sisters and I. In exchange for my mom teaching Spanish classes and my dad music classes, right? And I think about my mom's journey and her sacrifice and what propelled her forward. And while I'm so incredibly grateful to my parents because I understand the vulnerability it took to get us to that place, I don't think that any family should have to fight for a joyous and just education. I know that we can provide it at every single school across our country. So what is a joyous and just education? Well, really, it's the artwork of my students and their families. It's what we were able to create. These words are not mine, they're my students. And so when you hear these words, I hope you see these beautiful faces. A joyous education is a little bit different than happy education, right? Joy is internal. It comes from a profound sense of belonging. Brené Brown says belonging is the opposite of fitting in. When I read those words, my whole identity shattered. Because I wondered and I asked myself, how much of my life have I just been fitting in versus belonging? And this is something that is true for all students, particularly students of color, particularly Indigenous students. And so what is really important is for us to understand that belonging is a two-way street. We have to work hard to create that sense of belonging for all, not just our students, teachers, educators, staff, families. And really the only way we can do that is by embracing our identities and our possibilities. A just education is a little harder to see on students' faces than joy, but it's not any different, because a just education is acknowledging that we have the power to redesign and amplify spaces so that every single person can thrive, but we can only do that when we bring our students with us. When we ask our students, what doesn't feel right at school? What do you think is unfair? How can we change that? And I've done this with students as young as preschool. We are all capable of reimagining our future. This is my tia Lord. People ask me if I read self-help books, and I say, well, I read Audre Lorde, so does that count? I love her work, and I am empowered by this concept that joy can be a bridge to a better tomorrow. So I'm going to share with you 5 pillars of what I believe is incredibly important of a joyous and just education. It's 5 pillars that my students and their families have taught me. The first is that inclusion is key and elemental to our design. It's kind of like lesson planning. You start with your objective and you plan backwards. If I want students with neurodivergent needs present in building the school garden that we built, if I want linguistically gifted families that do not feel comfortable speaking in English present at helping build the garden, if I want young children who need special childcare helping us build the garden, I'm going to plan for them first. If I want working families who work odd hours in Las Vegas, because I don't know if you all know, but this is where I teach. I'm from Las Vegas. I teach in Las Vegas. We have very odd schedules. Then I need to plan for that first. The next thing is that we're powerful as educators, and we have the power to reframe our reality when it just doesn't fit right. For me, the term English language learner kind of fit like a hand-me-down sweater that went up to here and like wouldn't zip up all the way. It was too small to hold the brilliance of my family, of my community. And so, thank you. And so the students' stories that I'm going to share with you are stories that they have given me permission and have given me their blessing, not just the students, but also their families, to share their real name, their real story, and their picture. This is Vanessa. When I met Vanessa, she was coded as a 1 out of 6 on her English language development. She was reluctant to connect to others, and so I said, okay, let me try to get to know her as deeply as I possibly could. I learned that Vanessa's first language is American Sign Language. Both of her parents are deaf. She learned Tagalog with her paternal grandmother, and with her maternal grandmother, she learned Spanish. When she came to school, she acquired English. Vanessa spoke 4 languages. The audacity of a school system to tell her that she was a 1 out of 6. And so Vanessa helped me feel inspired to create this term of linguistically giftedness. Someone recently asked me, what are the parameters? I said, there are none. If you speak an indigenous language, if you speak American Sign Language, African American Vernacular English, it does not matter your level of any language. You are linguistically gifted and you offer us something beautiful. The next is intergenerational learning. Our students need to learn from their brothers and sisters, cousins, aunties, grandparents, neighbors. We need to create informal spaces in schools where our students can have that kind of healing. Because after all, these are the people that know how to recognize their brilliance. Next is an asset mindset. And I know that's been on the forefront on our minds, but it has to be an asset mindset focused on this concept of social justice. I travel around the country, I say that word sometimes, social justice, and some folks get a little uncomfortable. Social justice is really just acknowledging that we have the capacity to build a world where many worlds fit. That's not my concept, that's an indigenous concept of autonomy, of liberation. We are accountable to making sure that there is space for us all. Our students need to learn in beautiful places where they know their academics and their social and emotional wellness are intertwined, that we will not push them in anything that makes them feel like less than and unwhole. So this is what we did. We built a garden to be able to bring these pillars to life. We started off slow, and then fast forward 7 years, we transformed over 20,000 square feet to be able to truly make our school a place that felt like community. We knew that as educators, we had to work hard to earn the trust of the families, that we had to show the families what a magical and special gift the honor of teaching their children truly was. So we started putting murals in gardens absolutely everywhere so that our students could feel truly not just reflected, but celebrated. We built the garden slowly but together. Our students had input. They helped us design from concept to bricklaying. They were there every single step of the way. And our NOMIs collectively fundraised over $80,000. And they made sure each penny went to make sure that our students had a joyous and just education. We became the NOMIs. We are gnomes that are homies, and you smush it together, we're the NOMIs, and we wore our hats with pride. And it gave us a different kind of stewardship and identity. So much so that last October during Halloween, I was passing out candy. I live up the street from this school, and a group of high school boys come like on their skateboard, and they're cool, and they're wearing scary masks. And one of those scary masks goes, "Miss Earth?" That's my nickname. And I said, "Yes." I'm not sure who was behind the mask, and he rips off his mask and he says, "It's me, Jory, your garden Nomi." And I was just in love. Here's a 16, 17-year-old kid, so proud of the identity he formed in elementary school. So I'm gonna share with you a story that truly for me captures this concept of belonging. This is my student Haynes. Oh, and he's such a cutie pie. Haynes came from the Philippines, and when I met him, we had a mutual cultural and linguistic gap, but I could tell how excited he was to participate in our school. And so we had an upcoming build day for the garden, and I said, "Hey, I would love for you to come. Let me translate this flyer into Tagalog, and come, we'd love to have you." That Saturday, he showed up with his lolo, his grandfather, and they each had a shovel in hand. They helped us build the first layer of this bench. It's adobe, it's like earth cob concrete bench. And there you can see them smushing the straw and the soil and the hay, and handful by handful, they helped us build this bench. A couple months later, Hannah, his middle sister, arrived from the Philippines. Before she even left the Philippines, Haynes had made sure that all her permission slips were signed so that she could join our garden club. I know. So together, Haynes and Hannah and his family helped us complete our beautiful adobe cob bench. Not too long after that, Hyra, Haynes and Hannah's younger sister, yes, all H names, also joined us from the Philippines. And like her brother and sister, she slipped right into a place of belonging. Truly, when I step back and I think about why was the garden such a powerful place, well, it was a place of dignity. It was a place that equalized us all, let our brilliance shine, and let us build through love. So I'm going to round off with a story of a cute sweet potato. It's the first day of school, and it's just hectic. I'm one of the few teachers on campus that speaks Spanish, and we have one mission: match the kid to the teacher. You got one job, right? And I'm trying to do my best, making sure that this is happening, and all of a sudden I look down and there's a sweet potato in my hand. And I said, okay, this is curious, but I don't have time to investigate. And I see Kimberly running off. All the kids are matched, and I said, okay, I have to find Kimberly. So I go and I find Kimberly, and I'm like, sweetheart, this is such a curious gift. Can you tell me a little bit about it? She gets this huge smile on her face, and she says, Miss Earth, I spent all summer investigating how to grow sweet potatoes, and I wanted you to have my very first one. Oh. And at that moment, Kimberly reminded me of the hope that's always cultivating underground. See, I don't know if you all have ever grown sweet potatoes. Well, they grow underground, and the vine sometimes looks very pathetic. You might have like 3 or 4 leaves. But when you start digging, 1 sweet potato, 10 sweet potatoes, 20 sweet potatoes, you never know what's brewing underground, right? And so she reminded me about this hope. When I'm asked, why are you still an educator? Sometimes I struggle to find the answer, but her story always comes to light. So when I count to 3, I want you to scream out, you're Kimberly. What is the person who reminds you that hope is always cultivated underground? You all ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Let's bring that person with you every step of the way. Those of you who know me know that it's a 50-50 chance I'll cry during this slide. This is my beautiful mother, and I invited her. Let's give it up for all the moms out there. Woo! Like, I know I'm here because of my mama, so I invited her to the garden. I said, Ma, come to the garden, come spend the day out there. We're gonna learn all day, but please, Mama, don't wear high heels. Latinas, we're always wearing high heels, even where we don't have any business wearing high heels, but she wore high heels, and all day long, my students were dragging her to the compost, to harvest the peas, to rake the leaves. All day long, she was just going with it. At the end of the day, I said, Mama, ¿cómo ves? That translates to what do you see, but more deeply, it's like, how do you feel? What do you think? And she took a really long time to answer, and I started to get nervous, because I was expecting, oh, the kids are so cute, or the garden's beautiful. And she looked around and she said this. She said, Julis, ¿cómo sí es posible cambiar? El mundo sí puede cambiar, y todos podemos ayudar a cambiarlo. Look how it is possible to change. The world can change, and we can help it change. Thank you all so much for the work that you do. I am grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Amanda Thompson Rice feared being seen through the lens of negative stereotypes. She would blend in, shrink to make others feel comfortable, or stay quiet. Through NEA's National Leadership Summit and other union trainings, she's learned that there is space for her. She became an organizer and a more vocal advocate for racial and social justice. Amanda works with educators and school staff in North Carolina to examine their own biases, beliefs, and behaviors that impact student learning. The goal? To provide students with an inclusive environment and an anti-racist education. She tells other advocates, you cannot come into a school, participate in one professional development workshop, and call it a day. This work is a journey, not a destination. It's also not done in isolation. Please welcome Summit Design Team member Robin O'Keefe.
Good morning, NEA. I'm Robin O'Keefe, a middle school special education paraprofessional and local president from Birmingham, Michigan. I also have the honor of serving on your NEA board as one of 6 directors from the Great Lakes State. This morning, I have the best job, and I'm excited to announce today's 6 cash prize winners who have been randomly selected from our list of in-person and virtual attendees. Each of these winners will receive $300 courtesy of the Summit's premier sponsor, NEA Member Benefits. May the luck of the Irish be with all of you. Our virtual attendee hub winners are Scott Feldman from the Maryland State Education Association, from the Arkansas Education Association, Evelyn Wilson-Thomas, from the Washington Education Association, Penny Kramer. And here in the Summit Ballroom, the winners are Larry Blake from the New Jersey Education Association, Jody Dayberry from the California Teachers Association, and Dominic DeRosa from the Kansas NEA. The winners will be notified via email by NEA staff. Thank you.